Well, hello, Facebook. I am live. I'm here about 5 minutes behind, but that's okay. Have no fear. I am here. Listen, enemy's always trying to slow you down, but don't worry. Nope, we are here. So come on in tonight. Come on in. Waiting on you to just join us. We got some special. I got a special guest that's going to be joining me tonight. So come on in. Welcome, welcome to Unmasking Love. Wow. Come on in. Just going to give you a minute or two to let you come in. And hey, have a special guest waiting to join us tonight. Get ready, get ready, get ready. All right. Come on in, come on in. All right, we are here. We are live, Facebook. Come on down. You to just join us. We got some special. All right, we are here. We are live, Facebook. Come on down. You to just join us. Okay. How's everybody doing tonight out there in Facebook land? Good to see you tonight. Again, I apologize, had a little technical difficulties as I was preparing to come on, but don't worry about all of that. We are here tonight. Again, I am your host, Dr. M. Watson, and I will have Dr. Brenda Wilson joining us very shortly. Come on in, join tonight. Oh, this is going to be good. It's going to be good. I'm going to bring her in and we will talk tonight. We will be ready. We will be ready. Come on in. Come on in. Welcome, Dr. Wilson. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Oh, I am so wonderful, wonderful on this cool, brisk Thursday night. So good to have you tonight to join us. I just want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. Just a little brief introduction. She is of age. She can tell us all about herself, but I don't know where that 80 is. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject. But glad to have her join us tonight. I tell you, I know our connection was a divine connection. It doesn't seem like it was 2 years ago when we met because we were both participating in the Miss Alabama Senior and Super Senior pageant. How about that? I was senior and she's Miss Super Senior. So that's how we met. So welcome tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about, dating and faith and love and, marriage and being a widow and perhaps gaining a new special friend or starting to date or court again. When are you too old to date? Do you ever get too old to date? Do you ever get too old to marry? I don't know. We're just going to have some conversation tonight. Before we do that, welcome. Good to see you, Overseer Billy Hall, tonight, and uh, Minister Lisa Gus. Good to see you all tonight. Thank you all for joining. Hopefully, some more will join. If not, they can catch the replay. Listen, I'm excited. I'm excited. See, God knows just what we need when we need it. So He knew I needed I'm going to say a big sister. She's not quite old enough to be my mom, unless she got pregnant really early. But I'm just so honored to have her join me tonight. Yes. So I'm going to ask you to come on first, Dr. Wilson, and just give us a little brief introduction about yourself. Anything you want this audience to know about you and your journey up to this point.
Well, I am Birmingham born, Birmingham, Alabama, and I traveled extensively during my career. I was professionally an educator, and I worked for the Department of Defense. And my gifting from God is that I'm an artist. And so I love painting portraits and pictures of people interacting with each other. And my artwork has taken me all over the United States, to Africa, to the Caribbean. and I lived in Europe for 4 years. I'm back in Alabama now, retired and enjoying life.
Yes.
My whole thing is to be happy, to spread joy, to uplift, and to encourage. And that's my job. That's what I do for a living besides pray.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, again, listen, again, I just want to apologize for being about 5 minutes behind schedule. Was having a few technical difficulties, but that's okay. We made it through all of that. So, listen, good to see all of you on Facebook Live tonight. And I want to thank you for joining us. Listen, we're going to be talking and just in conversation, but I also want you to put a comment or put a question if you have one. Listen, she is seasoned. She's a sassy super senior at 80, just living life, traveling, still painting, doing all kinds of things. So listen, I want to tell somebody tonight, it ain't over till it's over.
That's right.
It ain't over till
Absolutely.
it's over. Yeah, if the mind is willing and your body is able, get with it. And that
Absolutely.
is exactly what Dr. Wilson is doing. Just excellent. I mean, last year, I believe where did you travel last year to participate in a modeling
Oh, I went
event?
To New York City to the International Modeling and Talent Association competition, and I was the oldest participant at 80. And this coming Monday, I'll be 81.
Amen. Hallelujah. Listen, y'all give her a birthday shout out on Facebook. Here, give her a happy birthday shout out. Let's tell her happy birthday tonight. Oh my. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. And again, she did share that she's an artist. She just paints and just does beautiful portraits and what have you. And I've been privy to see some of those. Amen. So it is a blessing. It is a blessing.
It is.
So let's just talk about, let's get started, Dr.
Okay.
Wilson.
Sure.
So tell me, first of all, let's talk about perhaps your definition of dating or courting. Let's just talk about that. Let's start right there.
Okay. Well, in this day and time, dating has taken on a different connotation than it had when I was coming up and a young woman. Um, for me, dating is a period where two people who have developed a friendship or are interested in developing a friendship start out spending time together, doing different things together. If it's just taking a walk or sitting in the park or talking on the phone, going out and having a dinner or going to a movie. But today, they have taken it off the chart. If you go out on a date, you're expected to go home and go to bed with them. And
Oh my. Is that what the expectations are tonight, today? Pretty
well,
much, I think.
ask your audience, because what I'm hearing, it's like, "Hello, how are you?" And then they go to bed, and they may see each other again, they may not. And they call it, what is it? Ghosting
Oh,
them when they just drop them. So I'm thinking that as women, we've lost our flair for stating who we are, especially since hip hop degraded women so, calling them,
yeah.
B word, and calling their body parts by its name, and just making the music very sexual. So the culture is very sexual. And
Got it.
young girls have no clue. They are getting their information from the music they listen to, the things they see on TV. So they think that having sex with a stranger is perfectly normal.
Oh, wow.
And
All right. Come on, audience.
they call it
Listen.
dating. And that's I remember when I was a teenager and I lived next door to a family, and they had three little kids, and Ted was the oldest. Ted must have been about 6. And I was outside in my day, we would sweep the front porch first thing in the morning. So I was outside one morning sweeping the front porch, and Ted said, "Brenda, do you date?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, you ready to get married?" And I said, "No." And he says, "Well, why are you dating?" And I gave that some thought. I'm putting myself in position to be ready to get married.
Okay.
But I was just going through the motion of excitement and entertainment and all of that. So we have to understand what the other person understands dating to be. Because
Yes.
if they ask you out on a date and they have certain expectations, and you out on a date and you have different expectations, that's not going to work very well. So you need to communicate what your definitions are and what your intent is. And people don't do much of that anymore. They get a couple of drinks and it's on,
It's on.
or a couple of puffs.
It is on. Wow. Listen, let me just say hello to Apostle Lynette Horton tonight. Entrepreneur Chantel Snow, good to see you tonight. See Grandma Sharon Sadler. Good to see all of you tonight. Hi, Miss Bobby Greenwood. Good to see you tonight. Welcome. Good to have you on tonight. And I extend my condolences to your family as well. See Minister Florence on tonight. Listen, we're not talking about nobody. We're just talking about what we're talking about. We're
In
going to be
general,
talking
our
about some
culture.
issues of courting and dating and things of that nature. I appreciate you so much for sharing uh, the differences because you've been around a while. You've been around. You've seen a few things in a few decades. Uh,
Yes,
Dating, what it looked like in your era when you first started out, and then of course you've seen some things now with your children and grandchildren, and just like
yes.
you say, society. So things have really shifted and have changed a whole lot. Another thing we want to talk about is when should people start talking about their expectations and their goals? Is that a conversation now? Do you think people talk about expectations and goals when they meet?
It depends on their level of maturity.
Okay.
I would suggest that you get to know the person before you go out with them on a date. And yes, you should talk about your expectations and what you want in that relationship or from them. And if you're not at that point, just get to know them, just get to talking and just have general conversations. People don't talk much, they text and do other things, but having conversation is almost a lost art, it seems.
Yeah, and so many things can be misinterpreted through a text or through an emoji,
Yeah.
and things like that. So having more conversation.
Yes.
Let's go here. I remember part of one of your stories that you shared with me on your journey,
Mhm.
traveling as a young woman, and you had the awesome opportunity to live with this adorable couple once upon a time.
Mhm.
And when you got ready to move and leave, uh, they asked you what they could give you, what that what could they give you, contribute to your life. Okay. And
Mhm.
what you told me, I mean, it was just priceless. If you can, would you just share a little bit of that because I thought that was so profound.
Well, thank you. I before meeting these couples, I was in El Paso, Texas, when I met them, and before meeting them, I had prayed and asked God, "Show me what a man is." Because all
Okay.
my life, I had males telling me, "I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man," but they were doing crazy stuff, and I thought that couldn't be true. And so I said, God, show me what a man is. Show me what a real man is. So he gave me the opportunity to go to El Paso, Texas to work at White Sands Missile Range. And I met two wonderful engineers and their wives there. And they they were just perfect. Neither one of the wives worked. The men did 12-hour days in the desert, and they would come home and they would do maybe finish dinner, do dishes, cut the grass. They would do all that stuff. Sometimes they would cook or just take us out to eat. And I asked them, I said, Marvin, I asked him, I said, are you putting on a show because I'm here? And he said, no. He says, whatever, I'm married, and whatever it takes to keep my marriage happy, that's what I do. And I thought, wow, that's awesome. And I saw the other couple, the gentleman did the same thing. His wife didn't work either, and he took care of her. As a matter of fact, she didn't even drive, so he drove her everywhere.
So wait, Dr. Wilson. So what you're saying, these men worked, the wives didn't work, and these men still came home and did all these extra
Extra
curricular
things.
things.
Yes, yes, yes. And
What?
what I took out of that is before in their identity, before their manhood, they were a person that was in a relationship and married, and they were committed to the marriage. So, whatever it took to make their marriage a happy place for them, that's what they did. And they demonstrated that consistently. I was there for 6 weeks. And it just got better and better. So when I got ready to leave, they did ask me, uh, what did I want? And one of the husbands was Al, and the other one was Marvin. And I said, I want an Al Marv. Pray for that. And that would be a combination of both of those men into one man. And God gave me that eventually. I didn't get it right away,
Wow.
but that
Wow.
was in 1981. And I didn't meet my husband until 1987, but he was an Al Marv when I met
Wow.
him. He told me when I met him, the night I met him, he said, what you see is what you get. And I was thinking, I didn't know I was going to get anything, but I got 33 years of a beautiful relationship with a male that was a man, and he was a man's man, and he was
Wow.
transparent and not ashamed to profess his love for me, and he wasn't playing games. And I thank God for that.
Amen. Wow. I hope somebody heard all of that. Now, I'm glad you said that he was a man's man.
Yes.
Uh, what my audience don't know is that you are also a minister, all the above. Now,
Yes.
sometimes I think people kind of misconstrue or have a misunderstanding of what it means to be unequally yoked and things of that nature. And we won't get into that. But I believe I remember you telling me when you met your husband, he was not a believer before you married.
He was not. He was brought up in the church, but he admitted that he had backslid. And if I had listened to the traditional rhetoric in the Christian community from Christian women, you can't talk to him. You don't even need to be involved with him
Because he didn't go to church.
because he didn't go to church. And at the time that I met him, he wasn't saved.
Okay.
And so, and my children had told me, because by that time I had been saved several years. And my kids said, and some of the gentlemen who were interested in dating me said, well, when you meet a man, don't beat him across the head with the Bible first thing. Give him some hope, give him some space. And so I did that. And Bill, and my husband's name was Bill, we began just talking. And we talk on the phone for hours. And I had asked God, I said, I want a man and we would fit together like hand and glove, and we would like some of the same things, and even down to desserts. And so this was my first test. And so I asked him in one of our conversations, well, what's your favorite dessert? And he said, lemon meringue pie. I said, oh, good. Now you can't get lemon meringue pie. It's nowhere to be found. What's your second? He said, banana pudding. I'm checking off because those are mine in that order. And so I said, okay, neither one of those are available. What then? And he said, pecan pie. Those are my three top favorite desserts.
Wow.
And so I said, okay, what about ice cream? What do you like? And he said, well, my favorite is butter pecan. I said, okay, and there's no butter pecan. What's next? And he said, ah, what's another one? Oh my goodness. I can't think, but it was mine. And so we had conversations like that on and on and on. And so we found a lot out about each other over the phone. just talking, 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 and being transparent and open. And he was honest and open because after being with him the 33 years, he just got better. He just got better.
Let's go back a little bit if you don't mind, because I want somebody to hear this. He was not going to church. He was not saved. And tell us what led a little bit to that, if you don't mind. That conversation when you knew that you all were getting closer and, that kind of thing, how that happened. I just want the audience to hear a little bit about that.
Well, people talk about chemistry. So the chemistry was there. We had an attraction to each other, an appeal to each other. And then he came. I was working on a special art project. I was doing a book of illustrations for a lace maker, and I was working on that. And I really didn't have time to entertain, and so I told him. I said, "Well, you this we met the week before Thanksgiving." And so the week of Thanksgiving, I said, I'm not cooking Thanksgiving dinner. I'm going to be here working on my project. And he said, could he come over? I said, well, bring some movies so you can entertain yourself because I'm going to be working on my project. I have a deadline. And so that's what I did. And he was perfectly content to do that. He brought movies and he entertained himself. And then when he saw what I was doing, after a while, maybe the second or third visit, he said, I can do that. And I'm thinking, you got to be kidding. And sure enough, he could do it. And so what he would do, I allowed him to get the drawing started, and then I would finish it. When I took
Wow.
when I took the finished product to my client, and I told him I had met someone, and he was from this point on, the work is our work combined. And he looked at it, and he looked up at me, and the first thing he said is, when is the wedding? I was shocked that he would say that. But you couldn't tell the work that I had done from the work that he had helped me do.
Now that is amazing. And so what I hear in that is that not only did you all know that you had chemistry and you had an interest in each other, you like some of the same desserts, but you all found all of this out through communication and through talking and through
Yes,
sharing.
we spent
And
hours and hours talking.
yes, and then when he came over, rather than saying, I don't know what the slang was back then, can I get with you? You told him you had work to do and project, and if he wanted to come on over, he could. But he came over and started helping you with your project.
He did.
You
He
see?
did. And so
Wow.
much so that my client couldn't tell the difference between the work we did together and the work that I did by myself. So I think it was
Wow.
God ordained from the beginning, but we
And
had to
so
get
it
to.
wasn't like, how I'm just going to share this too.
Mhm.
A lot of people now they competing with each other or trying to outshine each other, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
rather than coming in so that we can combine our strengths and our weaknesses and there's no competition because we all have both. You
Yes.
see? There's some areas that I'm weaker in, there's some areas that he might be weaker in. So getting to really know each other. And
Yeah.
one thing I'm going to say, Dr. Wilson, and I believe this from my core, you can't get to know someone who won't allow you to get to know them.
Absolutely.
It
You
doesn't
cannot.
matter how much time escapes or elapses. If they don't want you to know them, you
You
won't get
won't
to know
know
them.
them.
So
Well,
he was set out to get to know you, and you were set out to get to know him. All
yeah.
right, go ahead.
So, well, we, I led him to Jesus Christ. We talked, and he talked so freely and openly, and he shared his heart with me, and he was going through a situation at the time. And I kept remembering in the back of my, after we'd known each other for about 2 weeks, um, he was over to the house. I was taking a break from the working on the project because I was working full time as a teacher there as well, and this was a side kick job with my
Right.
artwork. And so we were sitting on the sofa and we were talking, and he's oh, I decided that it was time for me to tell him who I was.
Okay.
And so I told him, I'm a licensed ordained minister.
Okay.
I am sold out to Jesus Christ, and I am celibate. And he's the first thing he said to me was, I wasn't attracted to the minister in you. I was attracted to the woman. And uh, and then all of a sudden he turned to me and said, "Oh, maybe that's what I need."
Wow.
And I turned to him and said, "When you are ready, we'll move forward with that." And then we just continued to have our conversation. Well, the next week he started that conversation again, and I said, "Well, all you have to do is pray." And he told me, "I don't know how to pray."
I remember you told me that.
And so I said to him, "You know how you've been unloading your heart to me? You do that same thing to God. You tell him what's
Wow.
on your heart, and then you ask him to forgive you of your sins." I said, "But you don't do this unless you're serious." I said, "Are you serious?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, do you mind if I share some scriptures with you at this point?" And he said, "Yes, go ahead." And so I shared the scriptures with him about being saved and all that. I said, "Are you ready to give your life to Jesus Christ?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "This is a lifelong commitment. And what you have to do after you give your life to Jesus Christ, will have to go to church, and you'll have to give a testimony that you have given your life to Jesus Christ." And he did that. We got
Wow.
down on my sofa and we prayed. And when I told him about the celibacy and all that, he was okay with that. And he said, I had to tell him, I had to be honest, because I'm a woman that had been married 3 times before I met him.
Now I hear you. Anybody listening out there, come on. Help somebody
and
tonight.
and I knew my body, and I knew that I hadn't been around a man for a long time. And I told him, I don't know if I can trust myself along with you for a period of time without having my sexual urges come up and overshadow me. You know what he said to me?
What'd he say?
He said, "Don't worry, I will protect you from
Put a
yourself."
pin right there. Is anybody listening? Oh my
I
God.
never had a man to tell me that.
Wow.
He said, "Don't worry, I will protect you from yourself."
What you say?
And he
Did
did just
anybody
that.
hear that? Wow. That is profound.
It
Profound.
is. And he did that, and we could be alone together, but he would not allow himself to cross that line. And
Wow.
I knew that I shouldn't cross that line, so I didn't force it or push him or try to tempt him or do any of those things. I was
Wow.
just a lady. And so we got married, and I had been specific in my prayers. I was, God said, be specific, and I had a list of things I wanted in my mate. And before I decided, I decided that I didn't know what to look for. So I asked God what to look for in a mate before I met him.
Got you.
And God took me into the scriptures, and he showed me Jesus Christ. And he said, "You want a man that's compassionate like Jesus." And he brought to my attention when Jesus reached out and touched the leper. That man hadn't had a touch in probably years, decades, I don't know. But
Okay.
Jesus had compassion on him, and he touched him, which was more
Wow.
important than speaking to him. That was so important. So you want a man that's compassionate. And then he showed me David, the king. And he said, David was a man that kept his vows. And you want a man that will keep his vows. He had one talent, and that was writing poetry. And the whole book of Psalms basically is attributed to David. He
That's
dedicated
it.
his talent to God. Well, Bill's talent was in nursing. He was a nurse, and he was
Okay.
a compassionate person. And and even today, Bill's been gone 5 years, but I'm in a relationship with his patients and some of his coworkers because they loved him and they
Wow. Let's
transferred
put a
that.
pin right there. Listen, this is, I'm so honored to have Dr. Brenda Wilson with us tonight. She has so much wisdom and just world renowned traveler, teacher, educator, all of the above. And she could just go for hours and hours. There's so much. Um, Thank you so much for sharing those
You're
snippets
welcome.
of your journey. And it's just phenomenal. And as you heard her say, her beloved husband, they were married over 30 years. He has since been, he transitioned, what, 5 years now? Has it been five
In
years?
2020, during COVID.
Okay. It's been 5 years. Welcome. I see some of you on tonight who I didn't acknowledge. I see uh, Minister Elaine Tibbs on tonight and others. If I've missed you, I'm sorry. Good to see you, Pam, and I see Hope and Brenda Gates. Good to see all of you on tonight. Y'all like and share. Listen, this is a woman of wisdom and worth who just, I mean, she will tell it to you like it is, respectfully. So I got a question. I don't see anybody putting any questions in there tonight. Uh, what happens when you meet a man and he says he don't talk? He don't talk. A lot of people meet men and men say, "Well, I just don't talk." So how are you able to develop a relationship? How are you able to communicate? He say he don't talk, but he don't have a problem letting you know what he want when he want it. So somebody got to talk. You understand? So um, yeah.
If I,
And how do you tunnel through that in this day and era when um, they're not really bringing gentlemen home to meet mom or grandmom or whatever?
mhm,
They're driving up, beep beep, blowing, and they going
talk
out, getting
out
in
and
the
go.
car, or they meeting at the mall or at the park or whatever. So what are we doing now? How can we try to maybe have some conversation, put some things back in place, in perspective, to help young women and young men and some not so young understand, listen, there's a strategic method to this thing if you have an expected end that you
Yeah,
hope to reach.
yeah. Well, in my 80 years, I never met a man that didn't talk. Um, so if I met one that said that he didn't talk, I'd ask him, "Well, what do you do?" And then we would have to talk about that. And if he couldn't talk about that, it's no sense in me wasting my time. Because if he's not going to be transparent and open and share himself, he doesn't really want to get to know me. He just want to
Oh,
get me. So just know that a
it's a
man
difference,
who's
isn't it? It's a
it is
difference, isn't it?
a man who's interested in you will do whatever he needs to do to get your attention. And if he says he doesn't talk, he's excusing himself. And if you stick around, you're saying, "Well, you don't have to talk. I'll just do what you want me to do."
Or either you begin to talk for him, or what he really means, or what he said was,
Mm-mm, not gonna do that.
wow, wow.
No, no, that you're selling yourself short and you're cutting yourself short when you settle for someone who says start out with you saying they don't talk.
Okay, come on, Facebook. I'm waiting on some questions. I hear some comments up here saying, thank you, Dr. Wilson. I love your story. Another one said, that's a good question. Uh, Come on, y'all. I know you got some questions. This woman of great wisdom here, she's not shy. She'll answer any question.
I sure
Uh,
will.
if you all have questions that you want to share tonight. So, just to say this, do you believe that it's necessary to define your relationship? Just say, so you will know if you're in a courtship, or you will know if you're dating, or you will know if you're on the road to marriage. How would you instruct someone to define their relationship?
Well, they ask, I I'm 80 years old. I just entered into a new friendship with a male.
Oh,
And
wait. Pause right there for 1 minute. Yeah,
yes,
y'all listening Facebook. Dr. Wilson is 80.
it will be 81 Monday.
And she just entered into a new friendship with a male.
Yes.
Now, I will say, because I know a little bit about her story, God has done an amazing thing, but she was in the spirit of grief for a while.
For 4.5 years.
I mean, a real spirit of grief. I want some of you widows to hear this. I'm not trying to encourage anybody to do anything, but listen to what this sage is saying to us. She just entered a new relationship at age 81. Come on, talk to us.
Well, the relationship is a friendship, but I've had to ask him to define what we were doing.
Okay.
And he said, we're not dating,
Okay.
which doesn't mean we don't go out. We go to the movies, we go to dinner, we go to plays, we do this, we do that, we do lots of things. But he says we are developing a special friendship. So now that sets me at ease because in a friendship, there's no sex involved.
Yes.
In a friendship, you're just getting to know each other and enjoy each other. And so he describes us as special friends with benefits. And the benefit is he drives at night. So when I asked him, well, what benefit do I bring to you? Because, I don't drive at night or I don't like to. And he says, you bring me joy.
Oh, wow.
And so that's good enough for me. So we're building our friendship on mutual respect. We don't have to inundate each other and talk to each other every day. I'm respectful of his space. He's respectful of mine. He's a widow. His wife died a few years back. And so we are comfortable in our friendship. Um, and we're comfortable with each other and we can talk about everything. Especially this past Monday, for example, we when we had the Martin Luther King birthday celebration and Donald Trump, and I was just kind of torn. I was conflicted, and he helped me get through it and talk to me about it and listen to what I had to say. And he had something to say to comfort me and to put my mind at ease. And the next morning, he sent me Psalms 27. Whom shall I fear? And I thought, oh God, thank you. So you want someone who's mature enough to identify your value to them and to appreciate you and to
Wow.
express that and not play games. I can't play games at this stage of my life. I never wanted to, and I don't like it. But God has blessed me because I said to him, God, I am 80 years old. And last year, about this time, I realized, and God spoke to me and said, your husband is dead. You're not.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait 1 minute. Wait 1 minute. Wait 1 minute. He said, what now?
Your husband is dead. You are not. And then the rest of that was, you are a woman. And that's when I realized I am a woman and I'm still pretty attractive.
And you're still alive.
And
Wow.
so I said, well, God, I don't want a man unless you bring him into my life. I don't want a man, just anybody. Whatever you have for me, I want that. And so I really
Wow.
believe that my special friend is the answer to my prayers. And God knew what I needed and he's providing it for me.
Okay. I do have one question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the person that's asking the question is a widow. She says, is your new friend your age as well? Come on,
Yes,
talk to us, Dr.
that was
Wilson.
what I was concerned about when I became a widow, I said, like, who? Because I'm already, I wasn't 80 then, but I'm already, I think I was 79 at the time. I said, my goodness, I get a man 80 or 90, he he wouldn't be able to function. Or so yes, my special friend is younger than me by 9 years.
Oh, come on through. You got
Yes,
that, Elder Dora. He's 9 years younger. All right.
and he knew my age he when we came together.
Yes. And I will spill a little bit of tea, y'all. He just spoils her. He cooks. He's an excellent cook.
Oh
He
yes,
just brings her all kind of stuff and drop it off and make sure she's spoiled rotten. Ain't that
yes,
something?
it is, and I love it, and I thank God for it every day. Because it's a
Wow.
miracle. It's a miracle. And I say to my friends, it's a bonus. Whatever
Yes.
happens now is a bonus.
Wow. I remember she, feeling a little under the weather one day. And well, Patrick brought me some. I said, okay. They don't know. It's a lot of Patrick. So they don't, I didn't mean to call his name. I'm sorry. But it's a ton of them somewhere. So I'm sorry. But
It's okay.
anyway, listen, y'all. This is just good to see you, Brother Larry Morris, and you, baby. I see you. What you say, Lynette? Baby, that's what I'm talking about. So listen, y'all. There are some good guys, good men still out
Yes,
there.
I hear people all the time saying there are no good men left, but that's not true. We don't present ourselves in a way that attracts them. We
Hmm.
we lock ourselves in a box. We think because we're Christian women, we just have to be let down. We don't have to be. But I learned very early in my Christian walk that I'm a woman first and a Christian second. I was born a female. I wasn't born a Christian. And so I had to learn how to function as a Christian woman with a standard that is desirous of meaningful relationships and being able to set boundaries and enforce them.
Yes. And thank you so much for saying that. And what I like to say, as a woman, I still believe you should set standards,
Absolutely.
whether you're a Christian or not. There should just be a degree of standards.
We have gotten so far from that in our culture. I mean, with me being 80 years old, I live with my daughter and her family. And she wanted to meet my special friend. And so after maybe 9 months of talking, we're going to go and introduce my daughter to my special friend. He's taking us to breakfast. And I think that's important because he needs to know that there's someone that he has to be accountable to for me.
Yes.
That there are
Wow.
people who love me and there are people that he will have to answer to if he mistreats me.
Wow.
And
And
we
see,
cut that short. The little girls run out the door, jump in the car, pull off. And what they're doing is uncovering themselves. And they get in that car without a covering. Mama don't know who he is. Daddy don't know who he is. They are naked and they should be very afraid.
well, in this time that we're living now, yes. And, I'm a believer of someone needs to know where you're going, who you're going with. And I'm going to say it in Ebonics. Everybody ought to have someone that they are willing to say, hey, girl, I'm going such and such place with such and such. And here's his number. And if
Mm-hmm.
you ain't heard from me by 11 o'clock, I need you to call me or text me. Make sure I'm okay.
Absolutely.
I just believe that in the era in which we're living in because it's
Yes,
so, yeah,
girlfriends, and if you're underage, their parents. But the girls today don't want their parents to know what they're doing.
yeah, yeah. And I believe, those of you on Facebook Live, good to see you all tonight. Any question? But I think we've kind of touched base on faith. We've touched base on dating. We've touched base on love. You know, Dr. Wilson told you she was married 3 times. She's
No,
traveled.
four,
Okay,
four.
your last one was your fourth one. Okay, that was a charm. Hallelujah. Uh, And we've touched base on money because money is important.
It
You
is.
know, her husband had a thriving career and she did as well. No competition, just
No,
coming together,
and
with
supporting each
someone,
other.
yes, someone who really wants to get to know you and someone who will allow themselves to be known as well. Yeah.
Yes.
So, I'm just going to ask this question. I don't know, but do you believe people just, from your perspective, what you're seeing now, they
Hmm.
make their move too soon into the sexual arena? They don't talk and have enough conversation
Yeah.
and communication. And I know longevity has its place. Okay. You can court and then start dating someone, and it can last for 5 years, and he still can dupe you, or she still can dupe you. You see,
Yes.
but I believe that if we would refrain a little bit more from just being so straightforward, you know, with showing all of our tattoos, all of our birthmarks, and everything, right out of the box.
All of our treasures.
Yes. And then when they make this statement, well, I'm a man and I got needs. And so if you're not going to do this, then, I got to keep it moving. Help us unpack some of that.
Well, what their interest is when they say they're a man, they really mean I'm a male,
Oh,
and I have sexual needs, and I'm not mature enough to control myself around you, so I need you to yield to my desire. And we think that if we yield to his desires because he asked us, that we got a special place in his heart. No, we're just another notch on his penis.
mm,
So you don't sell yourself short. Don't. And the competition, oh my God, it's really rough. And sex is what's going on. Women dressing sexually, all their private parts hanging out uh, in public and in private. So it, it's hard for a girl who wants to be a good girl. And I don't know if they even know about being a good girl. I aspire to be a good girl. We want to be the sexiest girl, the hottest girl, the most popular girl. And whatever it takes to do that, that's what we do. And then we end up alone at 60 and 70 years old talking about there are no good men out there.
wow. Okay, Facebook Live, come on, talk to me, some of you. I see some widows on tonight and some other people on tonight. Chime in. What do you all have to say about this conversation that we're having here tonight?
Yes, I welcome questions.
As I said, Dr. Wilson has been around for a while. Um, Someone says, don't yield, don't take down. Okay. I see someone says, it's celibacy for me until marriage. Okay. Um, Someone said, this is good. Unmasking love. Okay. If he's God sent, I went. Unpack that for me. I don't quite understand what you're saying. Now, if you were on earlier, remember Dr. Wilson said when she started dating her husband or when she met him or whatever, he wasn't in church, he wasn't saved.
Mm-mm.
None, she led him into salvation. So, sometimes, as you said, we'll miss a good guy because he doesn't go to church all the time or he's not a believer yet or what have you. So what do you all think about that, audience? Wow. Mm-mm-mm-mm. I
Well,
tell you, I long for some more of our younger audience to come on and get some wisdom and some understanding and perhaps hear some things that they've never heard before. Because if the truth be told, a lot of our young folk have never seen what a healthy courtship looks like.
we've probably never seen a courtship. Not
Well,
many of
well,
us are courting these days.
yeah.
Now, dating is, I think, mostly for getting acquainted and entertainment. Courtship, you've got a goal, and your goal is marriage.
Okay,
And
getting to
so, yes, so it's a little different. The purpose, the goal in it. I um I look back on my life, and I was a free spirit, always in church, um, secretary of the Sunday school and president of the junior church and all of that. And at that time, my idea was, when I get married, I want to be a virgin. And I made the mistake of meeting someone when I was 12, girl, 12, and fell in love with him. And told him that. And he did a great job, just like my husband, Bill, of protecting me from myself. And he did not violate my wishes, but he went other places. And, that broke my heart. And then I said, if I can't get a man being good, I'll get one being bad. And I set my course for that. And I've paid the price for it.
mhm,
But
mhm.
I've learned so much from it. I'm a woman that believes that variety is the spice of life. And I and my life demonstrates that. Being engaged 6 times, married 4, divorced 3, widowed 1, and now at 81, I'm open to new relationships, or a new relationship. I don't want to experiment and go from this place to that place. I
Right.
want to settle in and enjoy the company that I have. But, and out of all those experiences that I have had, I have learned a lot about myself, about God, and my life has always been God centered. I was brought up by a Christian mom who was doing the best she could, but she raised me to respect God, to honor Him, to pray, and all of that. But she was a woman that had been married 5 times, 5 times, and she lived to be 100.
Wow.
She did, and she got her last divorce. Her husband divorced her at 75.
How about that?
But yeah,
Wow.
but I believe in not closing my door because someone hurt me. I just believe that the next person won't.
Wow. So you've got to be open to that possibility,
You do.
because
Many
some
of us.
people, yeah, some people who have been hurt say, I'll never date again, I'll never marry again, you know, and have quite a few widows and widowers, and some of them have resolved for whatever reason, I'll never marry again.
Hmm.
And no judgment zone. I mean, if that's your heart's desire, that's between you and God. But what I've learned through talking to a lot of them, they just don't want a man like the one they had before. So
Yeah,
they
well, I
are
would love
afraid.
one like the one I had.
Well, I was going to say, and on the flip side of that coin, someone is looking for or expecting to get one just like the one they had before.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen.
No, and that's the dichotomy right there. You see what
Yeah,
I'm saying? If
yeah.
he was mean or abusive and neglectful and
Oh,
unloving and unkind, they don't want to. They're afraid that they'll get another one like that.
well,
Or
that's why I had 4 instead of just 1.
but you didn't stay with that.
I did
And
not,
some
because
people
once,
will stay with that and resolve, this is a lot that God has, for me, and it's never going to get any better, so I may as well stay with this.
no, I never felt that way.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, I see someone says, thank you, Crystal. Good to see you. She made a statement. She said it was true. I slept with my husband the first night, the first date. I would never do that now, but we were married for 34 years and to death.
Hmm.
And he didn't go to church either. Either he went to a Catholic church, da 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 da.
Hmm.
So yeah, and that's the thing. We all have different journeys, and we'll meet different people.
Yes.
Um, and have different experiences. Because you know how you just shared at one point in time, you were free spirits. Like, okay, hey, being a good girl ain't gonna get me what I think I want. So hey, let me flip this script. But then time and maturity, you
Yes,
see, and then your faith and everything reshape that thing. You see,
yes, yes.
so, but if you live in a bubble, if you live in a box, and won't allow yourself to be exposed to anything different, you won't know that anything different exists or is out
Right,
there.
right, right. And we are human beings with needs and desires, and we have to identify them, the desires that we have, the needs that we have, and how we are going to fulfill those or get those fulfilled. And many of us don't spend much time doing that. I hear women saying all the time, if he loved me, he'll just accept me just like I am. And that's the dumbest statement we can make, because everything changes.
Wow.
And we need to be open to change. I wouldn't be where I am now if I wasn't open to change. If when my husband died, I had just closed the door and said, okay, I'm in the house, I'm a widow, and I'll just live until I die like this. I wouldn't have been in the beauty pageant. I wouldn't have traveled to New York. I wouldn't have reached out. What I realized when my husband died, because we were everything to each other, and people still telling me how much they admired the relationship my husband and I had, and how much we influenced their lives.
Yes.
And I appreciate that. And we mentored young couples. And now I'm getting the young couples' children to mentor.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And so it's important that you don't close yourself off. I have a whole new life. I had to reinvent myself, and
Yeah.
I have done that. And I encourage everybody, reinvent yourself. There's so much more in you than what you have discovered or what you have released. God gave all of us gifts to share with other people. And I learned when Bill died that relationships are the most important things in life, and that we need to be in relationship with other people, making other contacts and spreading the joy, spreading the love, and spreading the message about Jesus Christ and his love. And so I set out to do that. Because I didn't have to focus all my attention on my husband anymore. I began to build other relationships, and I'm so much better off. And you're a
Yes.
part of that.
Yes, that's how we met.
Yeah,
Amen. In
yeah.
pageant. Someone has a question here. She says, "How would you tell a person with hurt and carrying baggage deal with that concerning a relationship? Are you meaning going forward uh, in a relationship, Minister Florence? Kind of rephrase your question. How would you tell a person with hurt and baggage to deal with that concerning the next relationship? Is that your question? Because if the truth be told, all of us have some type of baggage from a previous relationship, And I will say this: all baggage is not bad baggage.
No,
But
you
if you
learn that.
have hurt, you see, um, those kind of things can be, a hindrance from moving forward. Shame and guilt
Hmm.
and fear from abuse and abandonment and neglect. Those things can be a hindrance. Okay,
Yes.
so how do you move to a new relationship if you still have a lot of baggage from your previous relationship? I think that's what she's asking.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking you need to get rid of the baggage. You need to free yourself of whatever fear that you have, whatever unforgiveness that you have. And you need to tighten up your relationship with God and believe Him when He tells you that He is in love with you. You are worthy of love. When He commands us to love Him with all of our heart, with all of our mind, with all of our soul, and with all of our strength, that's everything we got. So we love him like that, but instead we focus on loving people, a man or a woman like that. And that's not what was intended. And then the second part of his love letter to us is love your neighbor as you love yourself. Well, you got to love yourself.
That's it.
And so you got to learn how to do all of those things. And the reason why we carry hurt and pain is because we have unmet expectations, which may have been unrealistic expectations in the first place. So we got to order that thing right. Get your relationship right with God, get your relationship right with yourself, and then the other things will fall in place. But entering a new relationship when you're carrying hurt and pain and you think that the new person is going to be your joy and
No.
he's going to be your deliverer and going to be your prince charming, take you off into the sunset. No, you need to do that for yourself.
Yes.
And what I did, I spent grocery money on books. I spent grocery money on workshops for relationships and marriage and courtship, but while I was single, so that I could prepare myself and hear some new ideas other than mine and other than the friends that I had, because they didn't have much more wisdom or knowledge than I did.
There you
So I
go.
had to reach out to professionals who had written books and had lived life and had experienced it to learn what I needed to do for me.
Yes.
And
Oh,
so,
that is priceless. That's
yes,
priceless. And because, I hear people make statements, sometimes men and women, well, that's just the way I am. I've been like that all my life.
yeah,
Really? And so I asked the question, okay, if you've been like that all your life, is that getting you the results that you really want?
absolutely.
You see? And so many times, no. Um, like you said, we need to look at our belief system. You see,
Yes,
some of the things that we believe is not serving us well, okay? And
yes,
some of the actions, some of the things that we've been doing are not serving us well for real.
absolutely.
uh, we need to just change some things from the inside out. If you've been dressing the same way for 30 years, if you've never changed your hairstyle, you know, if you don't want to add a little bit of glamour because somebody told you they don't like makeup, they don't like this, and okay, you know,
Yeah,
so what do you like for you? How
yes,
do you want to present yourself?
yes,
And then be who you are. That's one of the that's a whole conversation that we could have one night.
yes,
So
that's
many
true.
people don't really know who they are. They've never really spent enough time intrinsically, you know, to get to know who they are,
Right,
what
yes,
they really want,
yes,
because they've been cosmopolitan. In cosmopolitan, you've been conditioned to please others. And from our perspective as women, you remember the Cosmopolitan magazine. We were
yes,
always conditioned to please men. What do they want? What do they want? What
yes,
do they want? So
yes.
yeah. But listen, this is just awesome. Hey, Andrea, good to see you. Thank you, Florence, for joining us tonight. Crystal, all of you, Larry, everybody that I didn't say hello to, welcome tonight. Thank you all so much. Listen, I'm sure we'll do a part two. This has just been amazing so far. We talked about a lot of things, didn't really just stay with one thing. But at the end of the day, all of these topics here are intrinsic, as human beings.
Yes,
Our faith, you either have it or you don't, you know, dating, courtship, love, marriage, money, sex, all of these things are necessary for us as human beings to unpack on our journey, and be
yes,
clear about what we believe about these things, how we
yes,
feel about these, what our desires are for all of these, and then
yes,
be able to share that with another person
yes,
if that's your desire to be in relationship with someone else.
yes,
We know it can't be one-sided. If you've been like that all your life, if you want to stay like that, that works well. If you want to be by yourself,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But if you want to join with another, then there's some things that I believe we need to look at because we all have to shift a little bit. Wow. Listen, I'm going to just yield and thank you again, Dr. Wilson, for being with us tonight. I know time has been far spent. I'm going to ask you to just give us a minute of summary, whatever you want to share with the audience as we prepare to leave tonight. Wait, before you do that,
Hmm.
I see someone says she's 74 and the person she's seeing is 62. Cut up, girl. I love it. She said, I was married for 4 years before my husband passed in 1923. This man wants to marry me. He's never been married. I have children. He's absolutely loves me, loves God. And now I'm feeling my grief for my husband and I'm scared. It will be 2 years since my husband passed. I'm scared. What should I do? Talk to her. Oh, she's beautiful too. I know she is a gorgeous woman. Girl, marry the man. Talk.
Well, pray,
She's a prayer
talk,
warrior. She is. She
talk
is.
to, talk to God about it. What I did was ask God for little signs along the way, and He gave me little signs, and then everything fell in place but one. And I told Him, Father, since you've given me everything else but this one thing, I'm going to step out on my faith and marry him and trust you for the rest. So just be sure you got all your ducks in a row, you got knowledge, information, and by all means, pray with the man. Talk to him about that. I don't know who he is or what he is. He wants to marry you. Find out why.
Yes.
And what does he bring to the table? Because you don't want to be unequally yoked.
And the thing is, that's interesting for lack of a better word in itself, because there's not a whole lot of men in the arena where I work with people and that I see that are looking to get married right now.
And that's true.
You see?
Many of them
So
are afraid and all of that. So if
right.
he's wanting to get married, investigate, ask him, tell
Yeah.
him to tell you what it is and what he envisions your marriage to him to look like. Get all that
Yeah.
information. Just
Yeah.
because he asks you don't mean he's in position to be your husband.
Yeah, yeah. And then like I said, look at your dynamics of your relationship and all those kind of things as well. One other question, someone says, how do you deal with a partner that is romantic and you're not? Example, one loves to show affection and you're not affected by that. Yeah, it's a lot of couples like that. So speak to that.
It's a matter of your will. God gave all of us a free will. If you're going to enter a relationship with somebody and they have needs that they need fulfilled in the relationship and you're not willing to do that, you shouldn't be in relationship with them. I hear a lot of people, I'm not affectionate. Well, get affectionate. Do you value this person? Do you value their presence in your life? Then change to keep them in your life, make you happy, and make them happy. I don't get that. It's like you don't have to drive a stake in the ground and say, this is where I stand. You're human. God made you creative, flexible, and so you can do anything you want to do. If you want to use that as an excuse, you may lose what could be a very good man.
Buy some, like you said, watch some movies,
Right?
read some books,
Yes.
see uh everything that we need in this on this journey to have I'm going to say a wholesome marriage or a wholesome relationship. We don't have it all. We don't have all the tools. And
Right.
then there are people like a Dr. M out there. And
Yeah.
there are people, who are gifted in certain arenas who can work with you and help you, enhance certain areas or whatever. Because there are some people who are just naturally more romantic than others, you
That's
see.
true. That's
But I
true.
will say it like this: no one wants to be married to a rock.
They talk about women being frigid.
No one wants to be married to a rock. Either way, and that pendulum swing both ways. Now, I work with couples
Yes.
who some men are just like, you know. And then on the other hand is some women who are like, you know what I'm saying?
But then
I'm
you
gonna
have
say it
to.
like this: we all adults, but at the end of the day, for people of faith, the number one reason that people of faith get married is to have sex, so that they won't feel like they condemned to hell. Now, you don't have to agree with me or not, but that's it.
That's
Otherwise,
probably
why
that's
else would
true.
you want to get married?
Yep.
So
Yep.
when I encounter couples who one says, "Oh no, I ain't having sex," oh, okay. So what you get married for? What's your main reason for getting
Yeah.
married?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Someone can help you pay your bills over there, or you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But come on, let's keep it real. And you're alive and well. Dr. Wilson
Yeah.
is 80, 81. She ain't dead,
I ain't dead.
Hey. So listen, I'm sorry. I wanted to get those questions in, but again, I want to give you a minute to just summarize what you'd like to say to our audience for before you leave tonight. Thank
Okay.
you for coming on. Thank all of you for
Thank
listening
you.
Facebook Live. Um, be sure and share, like and share with others, and tell them to stay tuned on Thursday nights. We ain't talking about nobody. We're just talking about real life issues that I
Yeah.
believe needs to be addressed in order for us to learn how to have wholesome,
Health.
healthy relationships.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
To
Yes.
you, Dr. Wilson.
Well, the first thing I would say to anyone, in, get your relationship right with God first. The thing that He taught me was before I can give you my best as a partner, I need you to fall in love with me. And I had to learn what that would look like. And what He gave me was give Him the time. You're not married, you're not having sex with anybody. So you set your alarm for midnight and get up and make love to me. And how do you make love to God? Read His Word,
Read his word.
sing to Him, tell Him how grateful you are that He's in your life, and just tell Him the same things you'd be telling your lover because He's in love with you. He's love. He didn't command us to love Him with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength unless He was already doing that for us.
Wow.
And so when I started, and that was before my husband was even on the scene, and I started that practice of making love to God at midnight. And it wasn't too much longer after that that He presented me with his king. I say he was Bill was his king. And I told Bill, and Bill told me, we got out on our knees before each other before we got married, and we said, I will treat you just like I will treat Jesus Christ in my life. You are
Wow.
Christ's representative to me. Now, sometimes we slip up and mess up, but we come back and apologize and ask for forgiveness and make it right. We promise not to go to bed angry with each other.
Yes.
So I would say get your relationship right with God and let Him lead you. Listen to His voice, not your girlfriends, not your friends that don't have much more experience or knowledge than you do, but put God first and let Him lead you. And He did that for me. I know He doesn't make a difference in people, so I know He'll do it for you. But you got to be serious. You can't be playing. And there's got to be some fasting and praying going on all the while.
All right. Well, listen, if you don't have another question, again, I want to say thank you to my Facebook audience tonight. Thank you for those who will watch the replay. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my beautiful, wonderful, sassy friend who is 80, and I have to keep stressing 81 on next Monday. A joyous birthday to you.
Thank you.
And she's actually, I call it courting because they're getting to know. But of course, they're special friends. And so I'm just excited. I'm just excited for what God is doing. And listen, I have expectancy for myself. So I've got to get some things in order. Yeah. It's been long enough now. It's been long enough. Yeah. I'm tired of putting that heating pad on my foot at night when I go to bed.
I know
But
what you mean.
yeah, but listen, thank you all so not see you, Miss Jennifer. I see you're still up. Thank you, Dora, all of you all tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You all stay tuned. Don't know who the guest will be. I like to keep it a secret, and I'll post it a day before or 2 days before. And listen, you never know what we might talk about on Unmasking Love.
Yes.
So, again, blessings to each of you. You all stay warm and stay safe. Uh, thank you all again, and we'll see you all soon. See you, cousin. I didn't see my cousin Brenda Gates from Georgia. Thank you for joining us tonight. Okay. Listen, thank
Thank
you,
you for
Dr.
this
Wayne, darling,
opportunity.
and we'll be
Thank,
talking soon. Okay.
thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night. Good
All
night. It
right.
was a pleasure.
Good night.
Good night.
All right.
Hello.
Well, hello there. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, I was trying to see you on there. I heard Dr. Watson talking,
Uh huh.
and that's my maiden name.
Watson.
Uh huh.
Oh, okay.